adventurous friends, Starstrike here, and today we are reviewing another G5 special. The first thing to mention is that if you are allergic to spoilers, you might want to leave now. However, there's not much to spoil in terms of the plot for the story because, honestly, this special has practically no plot. The second thing to mention, I'm going hard on this special. This is one of those reviews. That's not to say it was a purely terrible episode. It has a few moments that actually made me smile, and you want to know what I think if it's worth watching? I say yeah. I mean, if you want to laugh and turn your brain off and don't think about it like at all, and you aren't looking for any deep emotional heart-wrenching story, then sure. In some ways, it's arguably the best part of Make Your Mark. It's got several good moments, jokes made me smile, and at the very least, it's cute, and hey, maybe you'll enjoy the rest as well. Thing is, I have some major problems with how this episode breaks some of the most basic, fundamental rules of writing. If you have a tendency to call out reviewers for being too negative or too nitpicky or whatever, then you are not gonna like this review. Believe me, I'm going to give this special the credit it deserves. But if you came here looking for a review of My Little Pony Winter Wishday, then you are getting a review of My Little Pony Winter Wishday. The immediate thing I want to mention is the animation has had a very clear, major improvement since Chapter 2. Everything here is so much more detailed than the rest of the show. The movements are smoother, the lighting is great, it's just such a massive improvement. Now, that's not to say it's perfect. I did still notice a couple animation errors here and there, like Zip's glasses just kind of jumping off of her face, but really it's not bad. Unlike Chapter 2, or especially Chapter 1, where the animation errors and shortcuts appeared like every 2 seconds. Alphabet'll makes an appearance in this special, and he is the best part of the entire episode. He doesn't do anything to tie into the actual plot, which is an absolute mess, but we'll touch on that later. Right now I'm talking about what I liked. If there is one reason to watch this special, it's to see him interact with Izzy. Or, I mean, you could just look up the clip when it's inevitably uploaded to YouTube. Actually, I'd say the characters' interactions are probably the best part of this entire special. But you know which character doesn't make an appearance? The Queen of Ugly, Opaline! Yeah! Hooray! Is it sad that this villain is so bad that I'm actually glad she doesn't make an appearance? And I have a similar thing to say about Sparky. He is still in this episode, but he isn't constantly being his incredibly annoying self. I know I shouldn't be praising this show for not doing something bad, but I think it's worth mentioning as Opaline and Sparky were so prevalent in Chapter 2.
Little adorable sweetheart.
Everything you just said is a lie! But sadly, this is where the positives end, as we get into the actual plot, which opens up with Sunny telling her friends that she wants to exchange gifts under the wishing star. Turns out, every pony has conflicting holiday plans. As Hitch wants to spend the day with his grandma Figgy, Izzy needs to hang up an ornament in Bridalwood to ward off the Jinxies, which, by the way, is totally out of character for her because we see in the movie that she doesn't care about that stuff. Anyway, Zip and Pip need to be back home in time for the Zephyr Heights Wishingtine Royal Carousel Concert, which, for the sake of this review, I'm just going to refer to it as Zip and Pip's performance. But luckily for them, Zip and Izzy have been working on this new flying vehicle called the Marestream. They plan on using this to fly to Zephyr Heights and Bridalwood and then make it back to Maritime Bay in time for the Wishing Star. Don't ask me what the Wishing Star is or how it came to be, because we don't get any information on it beyond it's the Wishing Star. Now, I am really trying to figure out what Izzy and Zip were thinking, because this thing would obviously never fly! And yet, they plan on using it? You guys are dumb! But don't worry, because Sunny's magical lantern is here to save the day as it randomly transforms the entire Marestream into a fully functioning vehicle because magic. And get used to this, because throughout the entire special, every time there is some sort of problem where it looks like there might be some level of tension, everything is solved because magic. Not because the characters did anything clever, but literally because Deus Ex Magica happened and solved all of their problems. There is one other major problem with this scene, and it comes from a recent episode of Tell Your Tale. In that episode, Zip and Izzy build the Mare Stream, and they use the magic lantern to transform it. And there is a line where they choose to title it the Mare Stream. But here in Winter Wishday, they do the exact same thing for the first time. They transform the Mare Stream and give it its name. These are two blatantly conflicting stories. Now, you might be saying Tell Your Tale isn't canon, so it doesn't matter. Well, that's the thing. I, along with many other people up until this point, have been under the impression that it is canon because of how often you are required to watch Tell Your Tale to fully understand things and make your mark. And very often, people criticize Chapter 1 for having incomplete storylines like Izzy making Sunny's lantern, and the answer that defenders gave to that was that you need to do your homework and go watch Tell Your Tale, which was already a pretty weak argument because not everyone enjoys Tell Your Tale and I should not be given homework to go and watch this other show to understand the plot of this one. But now the argument of you should do your homework to understand things is even weaker because it's now been made very clear that Tell Your Tale can't possibly be canon because of how incredibly contradictory this scene is. I have more to say on that Tell Your Tale episode and how it compares to this special, but that comes later. So the characters then get into the Mare Stream and start flying to Grandma Figgy's house, and along the way they sing one of the many songs in this special. Nearly all of the songs, by the way, are just really simple parodies of pre-existing Christmas songs, and I think out of the entire special there might be a grand total of like 2 semi-creative lyrics. While they're flying, they nearly crash into 2 Pegasi who are just hanging out on their phones. Then after nearly hitting them, Zip turns the Mare Stream around to go back and tell them to keep their eyes on the sky and not on their screens. I'm sorry? What? They did nothing wrong! How are they supposed to know that some crazy ponies would invent a new flying machine that come out of nowhere at high speeds and potentially crash into them? Zip is the one who needs to keep her eye on the sky for any Pegasi flying around. Seriously, she is being an absolute jerk here. What the heck? Best Pony, stop it! Stop it now! The characters then reach Grandma Figgy's house, and this is an area that bothers me because the entire time I thought that Hitch was going to have an arc. I thought that there was going to be some interesting character growth, but no. Here's why I thought that, and here's what we got. Hitch tells the others that his grandmother is very particular about Wish Day, and she has a set of traditions that they always do, and each year everything has to be exactly the same, no matter what. But it turns out that his grandmother isn't like that at all. She actually likes to mix things up a bit here and there, while Hitch is actually the one constantly trying to make everything the same. Now, I'm sitting here thinking, oh, Figgy is gonna want to try a bunch of new stuff, and Hitch is gonna freak out. Then we'll get a story about how he learns that it's okay if not everything is the same each year, and maybe learn that not everything needs to go his way, but it's okay to let others do what they want. Or at least something along those lines. But no, Hitch learns absolutely nothing. There are a few fun lines and moments here and there, but there's literally nothing deep or emotionally heart-wrenching in this scene. I thought that Figgy might be an interesting, fun new character to add to the show, but she's really just generic grandma who shows pictures of grandson growing up and serves hot cocoa. There's pretty much nothing else to her character. We find out that she has a connection to Argyle, so at least there's some potential there for future episodes. We are then off to the next scene in Bridalwood, where Izzy needs to hang her ornament on the wishing tree. They stop by her house and grab some scarves she made as gifts for her friends. Keep her giving these scarves as gifts in mind because it is important later. Izzy then immediately runs into Alphabeetle, who immediately challenges her to a very rigged game of charades. If he wins, he gets to keep her ornament. No idea why he would want that, but whatever. Anyway, Alphabeetle wins because Izzy couldn't guess his word, which was his own name. Now, you're probably thinking, ooh, stakes, tension. Now they need to bet something else to get it back. Go away, Izzy has another one, never mind. It's not a bad scene. It's probably the best in the episode. Izzy suddenly pulling out the second ornament is funny. It's just all very disappointing because every time I expect them to do something with tension or have a deep character moment, it never happens. Also, unicorns are apparently accidentally casting spells to make it snow by saying the holiday greeting to each other, which is Frosty Shivers, which to me sounds like they are wishing for each other to be cold and freezing this winter.
I hope you all freeze this winter.
Not exactly the most friendly and welcoming sounding greeting, but yeah, whatever. They don't know that they are casting these spells because apparently the original purpose of this greeting was to create snow. But because magic has been gone for so long, no pony has any idea that they are casting spells. Even though you'd think that those glowing horns would tip them off, but this is G5, everyone's stupid. This whole spell thing does come into play later though and is important for the plot. However, it leads up to something really dumb, but you're just gonna have to wait and see what that is. Anyway, so Izzy puts up her ornament and then they are off to Zephyr Heights. As they fly off to Zephyr Heights, the Mare Stream's wings begin freezing, and it looks like they are about to crash. Now, normally this is the part of the story where the characters are facing some sort of dangerous, urgent situation, and then come up with a creative solution with their resourcefulness and problem-solving skills. But nope! Instead, we get Izzy saying, "Oh, all we have to do is think calm thoughts and imagine the gates of Zephyr Heights, and then we'll magically be there in no time." Sunny's like, "Wait, this works, right?" And Izzy's like, who knows if it works? I don't really have any real reason to believe it will. And wouldn't you know it, wishful thinking brings them to the gates of Zephyr Heights because magic happened. This stupid lantern has to be the absolute worst Deus Ex Machina device I have ever seen. Every time they have some sort of problem, their troubles are solved because magic just sort of happened. And you know something interesting? A very similar situation occurred in the episode of Tell Your Tale that I mentioned earlier. Zip and Izzy nearly crashed the Mare Stream. But you know what happened in that show? Izzy actually used her resourcefulness to stop the crash. Now, the parachute that she used was also a bit of a Deus Ex Machina device because it wasn't established earlier that she had it. But it was still better than what we got here, which was just, let's think happy thoughts and hope we don't die. And it actually worked. So they safely land the Mare Stream in Zephyr Heights because magic happened, and Pip and Zip do a bit of window shopping with their mother. This goes literally nowhere. Pretty pointless scene. We then cut to the rest of the main five in the concert hall where they all spot some gifts, and then just immediately assume they're for them and dig in. The selfish jerks. But the gifts are actually just props, and the characters didn't realize this themselves because they are a bunch of idiots. The guards then convince them that the gifts were for them, and that the gifts were clouds. It's kind of a funny scene. It doesn't make any sense with how the clouds work in this world, and it really makes the characters look like selfish idiots, but hey, so long as you get a laugh out of it, right? Right? Moving on, Zip and Pip put on their performance, and Queen Haven mentions something fascinating. Something that instantly hooked me and pulled me into the story. I got this feeling of investment in the show that I hadn't felt since the movie. Queen Haven says that this concert is going to take us through the entire history of Wishing-Tines of Yestermoon. Could it be? Is that what I think it is? The sweet, sweet smell of lore? And we're going to get it through song? Yes! This is going to be awesome! Let's take a listen.
Joyous, joyous wishing time.
Okay then, what else you got?
Joyous, joyous wishing time.
And?
The twinkling wishing star that shines.
Yeah, and?
The joy of wishing time.
Nope. Turns out the entire history of Wishing Time was joy, friendship, lights, twinkling stars, and apparently hooves on the rooftop?
Hoofs on the rooftop.
Are they trying to imply that Pony Santa exists? It's like they took the most generic things you could find during Christmas time and just shoved them all into a song and called it the history of the holiday. Hate to break it to you, but that's not history. Imagine for a moment if in the episode Heartwarming Eve, the characters were like, let us teach you the history of the holiday. And rather than giving us this deep, interesting lore that the rest of the series continuously built on, they just said, joy, gifts, candy canes, and sleigh bells, yay! I don't know about you, but if that was what they did for that episode, I would have just turned it off. It sounds pretty, sure, but that's literally all it is a pretty sounding song with zero meaning behind it. After the show, the characters are all off to go find the Mare Stream and fly it back to Maritime Bay in time to open their gifts under the Wishing Star. But they are crunchy for time and can't find the Mare Stream because it was buried under all the snow that the unicorns have been creating. So now that the characters have this problem, how do you think they're gonna solve it? Perhaps Detective Zip is gonna find it. Maybe they're gonna retrace their steps. Anything like that? Any resourcefulness? No, of course not! Because we have Deus Ex Lantern! How does it work this time? Izzy literally makes a wish. That's it. She wishes that they can be home in time, and the lantern brings the mayor's stream back to them. Why are so many of their problems solved by saying, I want a thing to happen, and then magic just kinda does whatever the plot demands? The wish then somehow causes Zip to realize that the unicorn saying Frosty Shivers is causing all of the snow. So they head off to Bridalwood to put a stop to it. Izzy then, no joke, just casually writes a new spell off the top of her head for every pony to greet each other with instead. Do I even need to get into how difficult spell writing was established to be in G4 to the point where it was even difficult for Twilight? The new greeting she randomly comes up with is Warm Wishy Hoof. How convenient that this spell that she came up with off the top of her head actually works. It's almost as if, oh yeah, magic happened! And if you want to play a game, go down into the comments and take a guess as to how many times I've said the word wish in this video, because whatever the number is, it is way too many. The new greeting, of course, works because magic in this generation just does whatever the heck you want, and the characters are off to Maritime Bay. They, of course, make it back in time for the wishing star, and Izzy freaks out because she realizes she didn't get any pony any gifts. Except she did! The writers seem to have completely forgotten about the whole scarf thing in the beginning of the episode. G4 had its fair share of continuity errors, but I gotta tell ya, G5 is on a whole other level. Anyway, the other characters all realize that they didn't get any gifts for each other either, and Sunny tells them that all that matters is that they spend the holiday together. All she ever wanted was just to spend the holiday with her friends. And this is actually a nice moment. Is it great? No, but it's nice. And you know what? I think this is a good way to leave off the episode. No more over-the-top magic doing whatever the plot demands. No crystals doing something random for no apparent reason. Just a nice, simple message with these characters all being friends. I have no words. At the end of the day, Winter Wishday is an empty, immensely contrived, self-contradicting episode that doesn't even try to grab you emotionally, but instead relies on its occasional humor to get you to enjoy at least some of it. If the humor and cute ponies are all you're looking for in MLP, go ahead and watch this episode. You will probably enjoy it. But if you are looking for any level of deep character moments, an emotional roller coaster, or even just something to build on for the overarching plot for the rest of the series, you will not find it here. This special offers nothing of substance. There were so many points that I thought just maybe they would pull through and make something special, but they just didn't. I know a lot of people will probably love it for its humor, energy, higher animation quality, but I have to give my honest opinion. This special was pretty darn disappointing. But here's the thing, if you are considering watching this special, might I make a suggestion? Just watch the best gift ever instead. It gives you the same message, but delivered in a far better way. It's way more fun, actually has an interesting plot, does a lot more for the characters, far better songs, and it's just overall a fantastic special. So yeah, if you'll excuse me, I am going to go watch Best Gift Ever. Yes, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go watch Best Gift Ever. I'm gonna go watch Best Gift Ever. I'm gonna go watch Best Gift Ever. Woo!